Hello and welcome to Shiny Hunting Guide, your personal guide on how to find any shiny Pokemon that is currently available. For our first video we are going to cover the Kanto starter Pokemon from Generation 1, Bulbasaur, Charmander and Squirtle. These are the games they are available to be caught or traded to. In almost all the games the normal way to obtain them would be to get them as a gift Pokemon, so the only way to get them as shiny Pokemon would be to hatch eggs or soft reset until you find one. In the later generations there are different ways to find them, but I will cover that when I get to the game. There is currently no way to mark hunt the starters, as you can't get them in the wild in Gen 8 and 9. Let's hope in future games or DLC that you can. To start, I'll briefly mention about Generation 1. Since shiny Pokemon didn't exist in this generation, I won't cover any method here, but thanks to 3DS Virtual Console, you can hunt in this gen if you want. I will go over certain legendary Pokemon in later guides that you can hunt for. In Generation 2, the only reliable way to get any of the starters is to trade from the red, blue, green or yellow games and then to breed at the daycare until you get the shiny. I would only recommend this hunt if you already have the resources to do a Gen 2 hunt, because other than the Virtual Console, you can't move them to newer games. There would be a reason to hunt in Gen 2 though, and once the video is ready you can click here to watch it. In Generation 3, the only way to get the starters is to be gifted them from Professor Oak at the start of your Fire Red or Leaf Green playthrough. If you want to get a shiny version you would need to soft reset here or beat the Elite Four, and complete the game until you unlock the daycare at the Sevi Islands. You could also trade to Ruby, Sapphire or Emerald and breed them there, but again this would be restricted to post-game, as you can only trade once the post-game story has been completed. I would only recommend egg hunting in this generation if you specifically want competitive IVs on your Pokemon, and don't plan to transfer them to newer generations. Generally soft resetting is a quicker way as you get to check more per hour than if you were to breed, hatch and release them, but at the end of the day it is up to you. In Generation 4, the only way to get the Kanto starters is by completing the Heart Gold or Soul Silver games, collecting all 16 badges and defeating Red. In Pallet Town, Professor Oak again will be waiting to gift these Pokemon, where you can soft reset. You can also get the Hoenn starters if you visit Steven Stone at Sylph Co in Saffron City, so don't forget to pick them up too. In Generation 5, there is currently no way to obtain the Kanto starters without transferring from a previous generation. The only two methods that were available to get all three were event distributions. The first one was in black and white on the 10th of September, 2010 from a book called Pokemon Peer. When you bought it, you were given 3 codes to get each starter. This event was only ever distributed in Japan, as that was the only place to buy the book. All 3 Pokemon were level 10 and each had normal move sets up to that level. The unique thing about these Pokemon is that they all came with their hidden ability, and because of the Gen 5 breeding system, this was the only way of obtaining them with their hidden ability until Pokemon X and Y. The second distribution was also a Japan exclusive event in Black 2 and White 2. They were all given out as eggs as part of a collecting Pokemon campaign. They all had very unusual move sets, such as having the move Block and the Squirtle having Follow Me. If any of these Pokemon exist to this day, they would be quite rare due to the limited release. If you choose to shiny hunt in this generation, then hatching eggs is your only option, but in Black and White 2 if you complete the National Pokédex, you can unlock the shiny charm that lower the odds a lot, down to a 1 in 1024 chance if you use Masuda method. Generation 6 reintroduces the starters, while in addition giving each of them a new Mega form. In the X and Y games, you are gifted one of them from Professor Sycamore that can also be shiny hunted. If you are doing a shiny only run or shiny badge quest of these games, then it might be worth your while going for this shiny hunt. If you would prefer to breed, then the daycare isn't too far away on Route 7. If you can get a different language Pokemon from your native game and it's breeding compatible, then you can lower the odds to a 1 in 683, or if you obtain the shiny charm by completing the National Pokédex, then it's further decreased to a 1 in 512 chance. In Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, there is no way to obtain them without trading or transferring. However, there were a few events where you could obtain them on any Gen 6 game, the most notable one being at the 2016 North American Pokemon World Championships, where you could have got all three with their hidden abilities and Mega Stones. Generation 7 was the first time you were able to hunt the starters at their first stage in the wild. This was an exclusive feature to Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon. Using the Island Scan feature, on a certain day of the week, if you scan in one of these QR codes, it will give you access to finding the starters on its specific route for an hour. You can use the random encounter method to hunt them, and if you don't save, you can soft reset at the end of the hour and scan the codes again. Random encounters can be less repetitive than soft resetting, but there is always more risk involved, either finding the wrong shiny, or losing it while trying to catch it. You should be fine if you prepared well and are lucky enough. If you register all 400 Pokemon in Ultra Sun and Moon, you can collect the shiny charm to make the odds more in your favor, down to a 1 in 1365 chance. Breeding is also an option in all the games, and if you have the shiny charm and use Masuda method, the odds will be lower to 1 in 512. With Generation 8, comes new forms for certain Pokemon, and for each of the starters, they got a new Gigantamax form. In Sword and Shield, you are gifted a Charmander after you have completed the main story. You can find it in a Pokeball, in Leon's room at Postwick. For Bulbasaur and Squirtle, you can choose one of them in Isle of Armor DLC from the Master Dojo not far into that storyline. All three can't be shiny hunted for, but with Charmander and its evolutions, there are places to find it in max raid dens where it can be shiny. You can also breed all of them in these games, as well as unlocking the shiny charm when completing the Pokédex like in previous games. In the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl games, if you unlock the national dex by completing the regional dex, you can find each of the starters in their respective biomes in the Grand Underground. If you can collect 40 Diglets or Dugtrios while roaming, you can double the odds to a 1 in 2048 chance. In these games the shiny charm only works for egg breeding, but with Masuda method, that can go to a 1 in 512 chance. In the latest generation, the Charmander line is the only one of the three that is currently available to get in the Scarlet and Violet games. Bulbasaur and Squirtle's lines aren't in the games yet, but they will most likely be reintroduced in the DLC. Charizard was given out in Terra Raid dens between the 2nd of December, 22 to the 4th of December, 22 and the 16th of December, 22 to the 18th of December, 22, but you can now freely transfer in from past games using Pokemon Home. The Charizard from the Terra Raids couldn't be shiny, but you can breed it to make a shiny Charmander. Again, if you use Masuda method and have the shiny charm, then the odds can go to 1 in 512 chance. Some other games that also have the starters is in the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee games. You can be gifted them from various trainers around Kanto once you catch so many Pokemon, or you can find them on these routes in the game. Both methods, you can full odds hunt or shiny charm, but in this game, there is a catch counter, and you can use lures to increase the odds for a specific Pokemon, so you can use this to increase the odds for them as shown. In Pokemon Go, you are usually able to find the starters in the wild, but during certain events, they may have a higher spawn rate or shiny chance depending on the bonuses. The normal odds for them is about 1 in 500, but if you find a fully evolved one either in the wild or raids, it's about 1 in 64 chance, but on a community day, it can go to 1 in 25 chance. A Squirtle Community Day Classic has just passed, but don't worry if you missed it. They should feature it again in the next December Community Day. For the evolved forms of the starters, there are games in the franchise where you can catch them without needing to evolve them. In the X and Y games, once you complete the main storyline, you unlock the Friend Safari. Here, depending on the friends type and Pokemon they have, from your 3DS friend list, that have also played X and Y, you can find the mid-stage evolutions, Ivysaur, Charmeleon, and Wartortle. The odds of finding a shiny using Friend Safari is roughly a 1 in 585 chance. In the Sword and Shield games you can find the mid-stages, in the Dynamax Adventures, in the Crown Tundra DLC. Here if you catch one during your adventure, it has a 1 in 300 chance to be shiny, but with the shiny charm you can get a 1 in 100 chance. For the final stage of each evolution, the only way to shiny hunt them, excluding in Pokemon Go, is in the Sword and Shield games, from their max raid dens. The method involved to hunt them can either be in a 1 in 16,384 or 4,096 chance. If you want an explanation on how it works or how to hunt it, there is an excellent video made by Austin John Plays, that I will link in the description if you want to check it out. In terms of recommendations, if you are looking for the shiny in the quickest method with least effort and you also plan to evolve it to its final stage, then I'd say the best one to go for is X and Y using the Friend Safari. You can typically find it within 1 to 2 hours if you are lucky, although you might phase a couple times. It is better than hatching eggs or resetting when looking at it from a time aspect and tends to be less repetitive. The main difficulty is finding someone with the friend code for that starter you want, but if you check the Pokemon X, Y Friend Safari Exchange Reddit page, you can look for people who can help and maybe you can help them too. If you don't mind a longer hunt and want to keep them in their base stage or evolve them, then the soft reset hunt in Generation 3 I would recommend going for. The hunt itself is easy to set up and doesn't require much effort to do. If you are quick, you can check one in about 20 to 30 seconds, and when you finally do get it, you can transfer it to any generation above. This means if you choose you can do a ribbon quest, only missing out on the Colosseum and XD ribbons. At the end of the day, choose whatever method you find best and just hope you are lucky. I want to thank you for watching our first video on Shiny Hunting Guide. For our next video, we plan to cover another legendary from Kanto, so stay tuned for that. If you have any feedback about the video or the channel, please leave a comment in this video. All feedback is welcome and helps us greatly. If you like and share, that would also be much appreciated and would help us a lot. I hope if you do go for the hunt, you get it quickly, but don't forget, sometimes it's not about the destination, but about the journey. I wish you much luck. Happy hunting!